I didn't write this next song, but I love playing it. Don't tell him, Mike. But the reason why I do this, I do it all the time in my acoustic sets, and once in a while in my electric sets as well. But like a lot of you, when I was growing up, I used to sit in my room and listen to my records. Back then we had what they call records. I do believe they're making a comeback. But no, I used to sit in my room and I'd listen to records and I'd look at the posters on my wall, and I had all those guys like David Bowie and Steve Marriott from Humble Pie and Led Zeppelin by the Plane. I'm like, God, Humble Pie, that's right. All right. So I used to sit and I used to listen to these records, you know, so I'm a huge, huge fan, and because of all the bands that I've been in, I've been very blessed and fortunate to actually have met and jammed with some of the guys that I used to look at on my wall. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because 1993, when Motley and I were recording that record that we did, we went up to a place called Little Mountain Studios in Vancouver, Canada, and inside, it's a little square building. Inside there was Studio A, Studio B, and so we were loading into Studio A. And while we're loading in, Tommy and Nikki, knowing that I'm a huge music fan, they decide to play a little bit of a joke on me. And they say, you know what, dude, let's go next door and introduce ourselves. We're gonna be here for like 4 or 5 months. There's a band recording next door. We should go say hello to them and, you know, be neighborly. That's what they would do in Houston. Let's be neighborly. So I go, okay, that's cool. So I don't know what I was thinking, but obviously at that point, Motley was one of the biggest bands in the world at the time. And for some apparent reason, my brain only allowed me to think that we were gonna go and say hello to like some new up-and-coming band that just got a record deal or whatever. So I was being a little cocky, I have to admit it. I was being a little cocky. I'm the lead singer in Motley Crue. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go in there. I'm gonna kick the door open and I'm gonna act like I own the place. And these kids are gonna be so excited to meet us. So I go in, I kick the door open. Tommy and Nikki are behind me, probably internally pissing themselves laughing. And I kick the door in and I proceed to totally interrupt Joe Perry doing a guitar solo. At which point he looked at me and sneered, as only Joe Perry can do. And then Steven Tyler was over in the corner, and Steven did what Steven does, and he did that. He was like, you're the boy that's getting ready to be shot out of the cannon, brother. So, needless to say, I just stood there and stared at him in complete awe and amazement. Now, the story does get a little bit longer. So I'm sitting there, and I have no idea what to say to him. Steven gives me a hug, and my legs are swinging. He's shaking me around like a rag doll sitting in the movie. Anyway, so it seemed like every time I left our studio to go get a cup of coffee or a sandwich or a cigarette, I would inevitably run into Steven, at which point he would do the same thing. What's up, brother? And every time he did that, I just didn't say a word. I just sat there and stared at him in complete awe. So after about 2 weeks, maybe 10 days, something like that, Steven went over to Nikki, because they've been friends for quite a long time. And he says, Nikki Sixx, what the fuck is wrong with your singer? Nikki's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He goes, I keep trying to talk to him, never says a fucking word to me, just stares at me in a very odd, creepy little way, drools on himself, and never says a word. What's his deal? Is he high or is he stupid? Nikki said, he's both. So one day I'm sitting on the couch and, you know, I was just sitting there being, we call it in Nashville where I live, germing. So I'm just sitting there and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh man, I'm in a fucking studio with Aerosmith. I've been meeting all these people. So I'm sitting on the couch one day with an acoustic guitar, and I'm doing shit like this. I'm just minding my own business, hanging out, and I'm doing stuff like this. Right? And then I'm doing shit like this. I'm just playing a bunch of different shit that I know. And then I'm going like, oh yeah, that's right, Aerosmith is here. So I'm going. Back when King was able, way before the stable, lightning shook right down from the sky. Mothership of fates, and let's get in a try. So I'm doing all this shit, and I finally start playing one of their old songs again, and then I hear the voice, and Steven's there, and he did the same thing again. He goes, you're playing it wrong, bitch. So he showed me how to play it. He sat down with me, and I had one of the greatest experiences of my life, was being able to sit on the couch, hear why Steven Tyler wrote the song that I'm about to play you, and then I got to sing it and play it with one of my heroes. And that is why I just told that stupidly long story. Best story you've ever heard. Afterwards, I'll tell you about this girl in Utah, a German Shepherd, a jar of peanut butter, and a midget. That one will top that story you just heard. If you're an old Aerosmith fan, see if you remember this. Blues on a lady, sleepy the she. Love on a devil brought her to me. She's of 1,000, drawn to the sin. She's the weather, cold in the end. Ooh, always me, I feel so badly for you. Ooh, always me, I feel so sad. Time, take a wind right out of your side. Fireflies dance in the heat of hound dogs beg the moon up. My ship leaves here at midnight. Can't say I'll be back too soon. Be awakened far, far away. Heat of my candle shows me the way. She's of 1,000, drawn to her sins. She's the weather, all in the end. woe is me, I feel so badly for you. Ooh, woe is me, I feel so sadly for you. And I'm bound to lose your mind, never borrow time. Take the wind right out of your sail. Thank you.